Hello and welcome to Assessment of Teaching Personal and Social Responsibility through Ultimate Frisbee. This is our iMovie by Mary Kate Holmes and Chris McNulty.
This iMovie will include an introduction to teaching personal and social responsibility, otherwise known as Tpsr. It will have 4 assessments across all learning domains. It will have unit objectives relating to the SHAPE Standard 4 and have highlighted objectives and assessment procedures for assessments 1 through 4.
Teaching Personal and Social Responsibility prioritizes the affective domain. It focuses on this so that you could teach TPSR through many different invasion games, for example, soccer or basketball. The purpose of assessment is to make sure that we are meeting learning outcomes and unit goals that we set for our students. Assessment allows us to see if students are learning these skills to better function in society and outside of school.
This graphic organizer outlines the skills associated with teaching personal and social responsibility as defined by Don Hellison, the founder and creator of Teaching Personal and Social Responsibility. These skills include safety, rules and etiquette, accepting feedback, personal responsibility, and working well with others.
Next, we will be talking about our unit objectives. The first and second objectives relate to Ultimate Frisbee psychomotor skills. These skills include forehand and backhand passing, receiving with 1 and 2 hands, defensive and offensive tactics. Defensive tactics would be things like marking opponents. Offensive tactics would be things like receiving a pass in open space.
The next 3 unit objectives are related to teaching personal and social responsibility. The first is in regards to the rules and etiquette that we showed in the graphic organizer. Students will literally be able to explain the rules and guidelines for an ultimate tournament. The second is related to working well with others. So the game that they're playing is Ultimate, which is self-officiated, so that relates to this unit objective. The third is related to self-officiating and fair play aspects of the sport of Ultimate, which is a way of showing how TPSR and Ultimate can be used together.
Our TPSR through Ultimate Frisbee unit covers SHAPE Standard 4, which assesses the affective domain. Here are the outcomes for 7th grade and Standard 4. They are all linked to our graphic organizer and our unit outcomes. Here are some essential questions we came up with relating to Ultimate Frisbee and teaching personal and social understanding.
The next section of our iMovie is the block plan. We planned for a 15-day unit for the teaching personal and social responsibility through Ultimate Frisbee with a culminating activity of a round-robin style Ultimate tournament.
This is the objectives and plans for week 1, day 1 through 5. On day 1, the lesson will be focused on backhand throwing. On day 2, the lesson will be focused on forehand throwing. Day 3, students will learn how to receive a throw with using 1 or 2 hands. Day 4, students will be assessed on heart rate before and after small-sided gameplay. This will cover our fitness assessment for the iMovie. Day 5, students will be taught offensive and defensive tactics, like moving to open space and marking opponents.
Day 1 of week 2, students will play small 3v3 games for 8 minutes for the PE metrics assessment, which will serve as the psychomotor assessment for our iMovie. Day 2, students will practice ultimate frisbee while the teacher states elements related to teaching personal and social responsibility, and the teacher will pause for Q&As throughout the lesson. Day 3 will probably be a continuation of Day 2 because there are a lot of elements to cover and a lot of scenarios that Tpsr can be related to. Day 4, the students will play ultimate frisbee again while the teacher makes a variety of good and bad calls, and the students have to figure out which are good and which are bad. We titled this game What If Scenarios. Day 5, students will be taught what it means to score and self-officiate, and they will practice doing so before completing a ticket to leave, which is an affective assessment for our unit.
On day 1 of week 3, students will create their teams for the tournament. This will be focusing on creating fair and equal teams. Next, the class will design a bracket on a poster and practice with their teams. On day 2, students will again practice with these teams and then make decisions on whether or not they want to make any changes to even further the fairness of the teams. They will then practice 2 more games with these new teams, and next they will complete another ticket to leave. On day 3, students will begin a tournament. They will play 5 games, each 10 minutes long. They will get a 5-minute break during the games that will serve as a halftime. On day 4, students will play 5 more games, completing the regular tournament and updating their bracket. On day 5, students will start and finish the championship round of the tournament before completing a written cognitive assessment on ultimate frisbee and Tpsr. This will count as our cognitive assessment for the unit.
This slide is a highlight of the unit objectives that the assessments we included in this presentation touched upon.
PE metrics highlights skills taught in the first few lessons. These are basic skills like forehand, backhand passing. Question and answer sessions and the multiple ticket to leave assessments will cover personal and social responsibility skills. The making of teams and brackets will highlight the ability to organize a culminating tournament that is purely student officiated.
The next section of our presentation is the assessments that we created for the unit. The first of these assessments is a ticket to leave template. This one is related to our ultimate frisbee and Tpsr unit, but this could be adapted to any other invasion game or game in general as a ticket to leave for students. The fitness assessment for our unit was a pre and post heart rate test. This is a good way to assess if students are putting in a lot of effort, which can also be deemed effective, which relates to Tpsr. We used it in the manner of our fitness goal, which is cardiovascular endurance.
Our next assessment was a PE metrics assessment. This was created by Shape, making it reliable. They tested it several times, and it would be similar when given by many teachers and different students. This specific one covers Standard 1 for Ultimate Frisbee. It demonstrates competency in motor skills and movement patterns needed to perform a variety of physical activities. So students play a modified game of Ultimate Frisbee. It sets the competency level at level 3, so students will be able to usually use effective passing and receiving skills, They are usually in a position to support a teammate on offense by moving to an open space, and usually marks an opponent defensively by moving with and staying between the same opponent and the goal. It assesses 3 different things: basic skills, offensive skills, and defensive skills on a scale of 1 to 4. 4 being consistently uses these 3 skills, 3 being usually uses the 3 skills, 2 being sometimes uses the skills, 1 is seldom, and 0 would be they don't participate in the assessment. So effective is defined as sending or receiving a playable pass. Consistently would be 90% above, usually is 75 to 89%, sometimes is 50 to 74%, and seldom would be below 50%. This is an example of how PE metrics is run. This is our cognitive assessment. It is written and formal. It's also sort of a template that you could use with any other sport or activity. Now we will conclude our iMovie. This unit is important because it teaches students life skills revolving around working together and existing socially. It also teaches them to be fair, honest, and responsible.
This unit links to SHAPE Standard 4 and the Massachusetts Frameworks 2.7. The importance of the assessment is to make sure that we're meeting the learning outcomes we set for our students.
Here is our works cited page. Thank you everyone for watching.